You're listening to the Relevance Hour, the podcast where purpose driven leadership and bold ideas bring more impact and relevance. Join André Wiringa and Dennis Drosser as they talk to inspiring leaders, disruptors, and change makers, redefining how we learn, lead, and interact. Get ready for stories, insights, and conversations that keep you ahead and always relevant.
Welcome back to the Relevance Hour podcast, the space where relevance and leadership come together to transform the way people learn, lead, and interact. I'm André Wiringa, and today we're diving into the world of inspiration, the most impactful yet underrated leadership superpower. Think back about the most inspiring leader you ever had. What made him or her stand out? And I'm sure it's not going to be the stripes they had or their resume, their CV, what they could do, their competence, but really, I bet it was how they made you feel. And today we're going to explore what makes you truly inspiring. How can you cultivate that in your own leadership? To help unpack us, I'm honored, I'm thrilled to have an incredible guest whose work is literally quite out of this world. She's the Director of SpaceBuzz, a groundbreaking educational initiative that gives children and adults the opportunity to experience the awe of space travel and inspires them to protect our beautiful planet and dream bigger than ever before. Janine Geijsen, welcome to the Relevance Hour podcast.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So let's dive right in. Tell us about SpaceBuzz. Why did you start it?
Yeah, SpaceBuzz actually started with a saying of Einstein, in which he explains to us that if we want to create the answers for the future, we need to start changing our way of thinking. And that is really a very intriguing and important question, because that also implies that we need to inspire millions and millions of people across the globe to start thinking differently. And that is quite a challenge, because usually you're caught up in your own ideas and convictions, and you need to find a way to inspire people to step out of their comfort zone and to start thinking differently. And that is how SpaceBuzz started. And being on the road now almost for 5 years, I think we found a way to really inspire large groups of people across the globe to start thinking differently.
You're talking millions, but I can imagine you had a day where you thought, where do I start? Where did you start?
We started with the saying of Einstein, that was one. And second, what was really important for us was building a team of people who are able to think beyond their own ideas, think beyond their own perspective, and also are able to get inspired by the perspective of others. So not defending their own, but finding a way to build on the ideas of each other, and therefore have the ability to create the answer for future challenges.
Amazing. Hey, and you're working with another André Kuipers, one of our own very own astronauts, a hero for me. How has he been inspiring for you personally?
He's been inspiring by the way he explained to us, and to me in particular, in what happened to him when he got that life-changing perspective, seeing Earth from space. And the way he explained it to me, but also the totally being at peace with himself and with the view he had, that was incredible. And that was also really inspiring, because we started to discuss about it. And one of the things he also told me is that, usually you go up as a technician, but you come down as a humanitarian. And for me, that was really impressive phrasing, that an experience could have that impact. And I immediately thought, that is what we're looking for, because if you can create that with people, then I think we're able to inspire them to start thinking beyond their own perspective.
Absolutely amazing. And what a transformation, right? The way you describe. And if you bring it down a little bit more to planet Earth, how would you define inspiration or being an inspiring leader?
I think inspiration is all about having the ability to create a compelling perspective, a vision on the future which gives direction, but also which touches you, which moves you, and creating a perspective of which people say, I really want to become a part of that. And when you have the ability to create a perspective like that, I think then you are really inspiring people.
That is such a powerful insight. I mean, it reminds me of how people, and this is research that has proven, how people are following leaders that are vulnerable, that show vulnerability rather than being perfect. What is your take on that? Can we be vulnerable? How do you see that?
Yeah, I really like this question. I've given it some thought for 2 or 3 days, and eventually I think the way I would like to address is that I think we need to redefine vulnerability.
Tell me, how do we do that?
When you look at the future, it's unpredictable. There's one thing we know for sure: we do not have the answers. So explaining to people as a leader that you have the answers, that the answers are fixed, I think people simply don't buy it. I think vulnerability is all about having the courage to say, okay, we do not have the answers yet, but we're going to figure out what the answers are together with a team of different people, but all with the deep confidence and also the perseverance to find those answers. And I think that is what vulnerability should be all about. It's about courage, and it's about admitting that the answers aren't there, but also explaining to people, now we're going to figure it out and we'll find our way. And having that confidence, I think that is what would help leadership in these days.
How do you apply that yourself in your daily leadership?
I have a team with people from really different, with different expertises who look at the world really differently, one by one, but they all have the ability to be inspired by the perspective of the other one. And that creates a situation in which you can build on each other. So it's not about defending your perspective, but it's on inspiring each other and finding the way towards the future. And I think that is, for me, it's really inspiring to have a team like that. But I also think it's really important because then you can create those new answers. So that is how, we do it at SpaceBuzz.
And do it together.
Yeah, absolutely. As a leader, it's about creating the circumstances for people to thrive in an environment like that. Not having the answers, but creating the environment, really listening to people, but also when the going gets tough, and of course that always happens when you're creating new things, that you stick to the compelling perspective and you say, okay, we just need to take this bump. Eventually we will find the answer. And I think that is also an important thing to do.
And I think that belief in that perspective is so crucial because you have leaders, or rather managers, that really stick to, I want to have proof first and then I start to believe it. But it doesn't work that way. You will have to believe it first, I think, and then the proof will come. Right? So
What I would like to add to that is, I think the analysis of the problem is important.
Right.
And it's important for everybody. But the most important thing is, what will you do with the analysis? You need to start to act. And acting is something which is not given to everybody, because a lot of people are afraid of taking those first steps, especially if you want to create new things. Because when you want to create new things, you know one thing for sure, that the first step probably won't be the ideal one. But acting on the problem, I think that is the challenge we need to embrace.
That's, I think, also the interesting part, because in life, if everything would be predictable, it would be less inspiring to begin with, right? Yes. And looking at your team, you talked about your team. I always say you get the team that you deserve. Would you agree?
Yes and no, because it assumes that if you just know what you're after, then you can build the ideal team. And what I discovered over the last years is that you should also challenge yourself in that perspective. What I found out with SpaceBuzz is, due to the perspective we have and the vision we have, also people came to join us, of whom I didn't think of in the first place. And while they were joining us, they developed as invaluable team members. So thinking, okay, you get the team you deserve, that would mean that you can manage all of that and that it's absolutely up to you what kind of team you will get. But I think it's also really important for a leader to stay open on that perspective too, because sometimes you get your team members who really, really surprise you. And that is also important in these challenging times.
So in a way, it's proving my point that you get a team that you deserve. Because if you're open for, let's say, others to join with new perspectives or adding to the perspective, that's also partly your credit as a leader. And if you say, no, it has to be cookie cutter and my way or the highway, you get a different team.
No, that's true. Yeah. Fully agree with that. Yeah.
If we go back looking at your team, would you say everybody needs the same type of inspiration so we can have one way of inspiring for all, or do you do it individually?
In the way I connect to my team members?
Yeah, your team members, your stakeholders, your sponsors. I mean, are you tailoring the way you inspire others person by person or target group per target?
It's a delicate balance, I think. Of course, what you do when I explain SpaceBuzz vision and mission, of course, you tailor it more or less to certain target audiences. But what I also learned is that if you just put it on a table and show what the vision is of SpaceBuzz, what the idea is behind it, then people also have the ability to choose for themselves on what kind of level they would like to join. And I think it's really about showing and don't tell people what to do. I think it needs to be about inspiration. And if you're creating that vision, that idea, then people will participate, but they also have the freedom to choose on what level they participate. And I think that is really important because then people do it voluntarily.
Exactly.
And I think that makes a big difference. And the second thing which is really important, I think, is that people pick something which is close to their heart. And that you give them the freedom to choose that because they know which item or which topic is close to their heart. And the moment people step in on a topic which is close to their heart, they will join and they will be there for a much longer time than if people are forced in an opinion to which they need to listen or something like that. It's up to the people themselves. Leave them to that.
I love it. So really, what you're saying, it's not just SpaceBuzz. That could be applied universally, right?
Yes.
So if we talk about storytelling, I think it's one of the most important characteristics of an inspiring leader. You must have hundreds of stories where SpaceBuzz made a difference on the lives of people or on even businesses. Can you share us one or two stories that you think need to be heard?
I have beautiful stories to share, but I think there are two I really would like to share with you. One has to do with the children we're visiting. Of course, we bring our rocket fleet day by day to children across the globe. And the most important or the most beautiful emotion we get many times already is the moment that the children are out there in space, of course, in virtual reality, and they see the incredible beauty of Earth. And they start just to point and say, hey, that's my home. And it still gives me goosebumps because that is what it is. It's home. And the impact of that saying, or the impact of the children just pointing towards and saying, that's home, that is an incredible thing. Another story would be we not only inspire children with a different perspective, but we also help them to become the innovators of the future. And we work closely with companies. So we also have workshops there. And I had a little lady, we were standing in the elevator, and in the morning she was really, really shy. It was a school class from an area which isn't that prosperous. And we went down and she grabbed my hand and she said to me, okay, I think I will be back in 10 years. I think I can work here. And that was something also that you said, whoa, this is exactly what we really would like to achieve. So that is from the children's perspective. And the other one is the adult perspective, because the program was designed for children, but we discovered that it's also very impactful for adults looking for inspiration, looking for different perspective. And I had a CEO of a large company who was quite cynical before he stepped into the SpaceBuzz rocket and said, okay, I'm joining, and who's joining with me? I said, okay, just experience it for yourself. And he was there, sitting there, and he came out and he stepped towards me and he gave me a hand. He said, okay, I expected everything today, but not this. Because the experience you gave me really made me realize myself that I need to step up in my leadership. I need to do something different. I don't know what yet, but thank you for this, because this was the thing I needed, the spark.
And that's what inspiration does, right? That it makes people think.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And I tend to say that people, as a leader, you need to be aware of who do you want to be while you're doing what you're doing. How would you describe who are you while you're doing what you're doing?
I think 2 or 3 things. First, I always have that perspective with me, because that is my mission. That is what I think we need to achieve with each other. Second, I think it's also very important that you work hard, because it's difficult to get it and to make it work. So that is something which is also important. I think you need to work hard together with your team, but also yourself. And the third thing I think which is really important is that you stick to it. So when there's a bumpy road, just stick to it and just go for it. And the last part, which is, I think, really important, have a laugh. Because it's a challenge, but it's also important to have fun. And it's incredible that you can work on a perspective like that. And having fun, I think that is maybe secret magic or something like that, which is really, really important, which connects, but which is also important to have within your team.
I think that's such a powerful message. You talked about perspective several times, and you mentioned it started for kids. You opened it up for corporates. I heard you say kids of businesses, and then the CEO actually transformed. Would you say that inspiring kids differs from inspiring adults, or how do you see that?
No, they think it's different. At least adults think it's really different, but it's not. Of course, when you're a grown-up, you know more. You have much more expertise and you're maybe a bit more cynical or a bit more distant. But what we notice that if you create the right story, but also use the immersive technologies we have nowadays, that you open up adults. And the moment you're successful in opening them up, maybe you're even of more inspiration than for children, because they take that barrier and they embrace it.
Yeah. And you see it happening, right?
Yeah, you see it happening.
I remember you told me a story about a company, I can't mention the name, I realized, but in Mallorca, where you had 500 people like standing in line, totally excited. So I'm so happy for you, proud of you, really well done. I always think there are people that are super inspiring and know it, but we know there are also people that feel less charismatic. And what would you, just 3 practical tips, suggestions, what can people do to just start inspiring others with more confidence?
Yeah. Charisma is, of course, everybody would love to have it. Now, most of us leaders, we just don't. You know, we're not Malala or any global role leader, whatever, role model. So I think maybe I've got 3 tips for people. The first thing is, really pick a topic which is close to your heart, related to your job. Because when it's close to your heart, you care about it.
And people can tell.
And people can tell, because people feel it. So I think that is the first step you could do. And the second thing is, dive into the topic. What is it? What makes you wonder? Look for new angles, new perspective. What would you like to see that's being changed related to that topic? So open up to that. I think that is a very important thing to do. Third, of course, it's trying to find that compelling perspective, the story, your story about it. And fourth thing, because I talk to a lot of CEOs, most of the time they explain to me, I don't have time for it. And that is, what is time? I think if you would spend 10% of your time on the topic which is close to your heart related to your job, finding that perspective and then inspiring others also to find ways to improve it, I think the world would change at an incredible speed if all leaders would do so. So
I
that
so
might
agree.
be helpful.
So the beauty of inspiration is generally contagious. But do you also encounter people that are cynical and maybe not immediately join the club of SpaceBuzz fans?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You see that everywhere. There are always people who really embrace the concept, and there are always people who are stepping back and are cynical about it or think, nah, it's not my cup of tea. But what I always envision for myself is everywhere in the world, you will find people who step into a room and bring energy. And in every room in the world, there are always people who are in the room and take out all of the energy. And I really decided to focus just on the people who bring in the energy, because those are the people who are willing to step forward, are willing to listen, but also are willing to collaborate. And I think that is what we need in these days. And the other people who take the energy or just saying no out of saying no, it's up to them. Everybody has its own choice, but I think we do not have the time to wait for them.
I so agree. I tend to say you have A's, B's, and C's. And if you want to transform like a team or an organization, the A's immediately join you, the B's wait and see, and the C's can change, don't want to change, or all of the above. And I'm with you, put the energy and the recognition on the A's, and B's will follow, and the C's will get lonely. So beautiful. We talked about all the, let's say, inspiring moments, inspiring stories. I don't know, and maybe I'm the only one, but if you have days that you feel less inspired or less inspiring yourself, what do you do? How do you handle that?
Of course, I have those days. Most of the time, what I do, I just go back to the people who are experiencing the SpaceBuzz program. Because the moment I'm back there and I see the impact it has, then I know why I'm pursuing the SpaceBuzz vision and mission. I think that's the most important source. Just go back to the users, go back to the people we really would like to inspire. And yeah, that is my moment of inspiration. And you, how do you pursue?
I'm always inspired. Kidding. No, especially after COVID, I had several moments that it was hard, that you spent hours, if not full days in the studio interacting. We would start with Singapore in the morning, Europe in the afternoon, US, Canada in the evening. That was tough. And like you said, bumpy road, we have our bumpy moments. And a couple of things. First of all, my family always helps. Second, I like hiking, and just take a hike, get out of the space. If you feel you're not bringing the right energy, take it out, because it's not helping others and it's not helping you. Biking really works. We live about 35, 40 minutes biking from here, so that helps. So getting inspired on the journey, or sometimes offload bad energy on the way home, that really helps. Beach.
Oh, yeah.
Coastlines, beautiful, steam rooms.
Yeah.
Like last week, I had a very, very rough session, and successful, super successful, but it took a lot of energy. And then 1 hour in the steam room, and I'm as good as new.
Now, I also love the oceans because, of course, we have a space program, but actually I'm an ocean lady. So I really love the sea, and especially looking towards the end of the sea, because you know the answer you're looking for will be somewhere out there. So that also really helps.
I love it. Yeah, me too. And it's crucial to realize what gives you energy, because after all, as leaders, you're also sharing energy with others. It's a sort of inspiration. So this has been a wonderful conversation, Janine. Thank you. And before we break up, what would be one final piece of advice that you would want to give to others? Where to begin if they would want to up their game in terms of inspiring others?
I think the most important thing is find your perspective, find your compelling perspective in which you believe, which gives direction to what you do on a day-to-day basis. Start to find it, start to create it. And in finding it, be curious. Just be open and make yourself wonder, but let you also be wondered by the perspective of others, the ideas of others, because we have an incredible world. And I know that most of the time we're really involved in all the bad and the sad and the chaotic stories shared by the media and everything. But I also really believe and experience that there is also a world out there with a lot of people with incredible visions, perspectives, and bringing energy to teams and to places. And the moment you are opening up to that and start to create your own compelling perspective, I really believe that you will find it and that it will really help you and your team to create those needed solutions for the future.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's so beautiful. And to all our listeners, I'll leave you with the last question. Who will you inspire today? If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, share it with someone who needs a spark of inspiration, and join us next time on the Relevance Hour podcast. Until then, stay relevant and keep inspiring.
This was the Relevance Hour. Don't forget to follow, rate, and share, and keep leading with relevance. See you next time.